Hello, I'd like to read to you some words from the 14th chapter of Luke. Words, a story that we have exclusively in Luke's Gospel that is often read and people enjoy hearing it after Easter. So I want to read most of that to you now. Now the same day, two were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. They were talking with each other about everything that had happened. And as they talked and discussed these things with each other, Jesus himself came up and walked along with them, but they were kept from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing as you walk along?" They stood still, their faces downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, asked him, "Are you only a visitor to Jerusalem? Do you not know the things that have happened in these last days?" "What things?" he asked. "About Jesus of Nazareth," they replied. "He was a prophet, powerful in word and deed before God and all the people. The chief priests and our rulers handed him over to be sentenced to death, and they crucified him. But we had hoped he would be the one who would redeem Israel." They continue with some of this conversation, and then Jesus says to them, "How foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Did not the Christ have to suffer these things and then enter into glory?" And then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explained to them what was said in all the scriptures concerning himself. As they approached the village to which they were going, Jesus acted as if he were going further. But they urged him strongly, "Stay with us, for it is early evening. The day is almost over." So he went in to stay with them. When they were at the table, finally, he took bread, gave thanks, broke it, and began to give it to them. And then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he disappeared from their sight. They asked each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he talked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us?" There is an expression called breaking the internet. Maybe you've heard that expression. And of course, it's not about literally breaking the function of the internet, but rather dominating conversation. For example, in 2019, Jennifer Aniston broke Guinness World Records with the number of followers that she attracted to her Instagram account when she established that account. Within 15 minutes, she had 1 million followers. In 2014, at the Oscars, Ellen DeGeneres took a selfie with Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper, Brad Pitt, and some others, although with Brad Pitt, say no more. And it became the most shared tweet, 3.5 million. So people said these events broke the internet. And there was a headline within the last few days, "Internet saves Easter." Well, you and I both know the internet did not save Easter. Certainly the internet provided a platform for so many of us to engage in worship. And that's what I want to briefly say to you today. The friends that Jesus met and was walking with on the road to Emmaus, they had no idea who he was, of course, until they began to worship in the breaking of the bread. And then they began to discuss and remember those scriptures that Jesus shared with them. And they understood who he was. It is difficult for us to maintain social distancing. It is difficult for us not to share in fellowship with one another on Sundays and Wednesdays and other times the church comes together. And this very passage from Luke's Gospel about Emmaus, this is a passage that so many pastors love to read and preach from in the days immediately following Easter, where the church can come together and share communion together. Because that phrase, he became known to them in the breaking of the bread. Well, let me suggest to you that you continue engaging the church with a capital C, not just the church, Highland United Methodist Church, this church, but continue to seek God through worship, that we might break the internet and encounter our living God every time we seek to worship him, which, yes, can be done in private, can be done in our car, can be done wherever it is that we find ourselves to focus our minds, to have a certain disposition within our spirit that is focused not on self, but upon God. I hope you'll do that and continue to do that in the next coming days.